Welcome to English 109X. My name is Carolyn Pickrell. I am the coordinator for 109X for the 2017-18 academic year. This may be the one and only time you see me during the semester. I am the coordinator for the program, but each 109X class has a peer facilitator, an instructional student assistant. This person is trained as a peer tutor, and that instructional student assistant or facilitator will guide the class during the semester. So I wanted to use this video to talk a little bit about what the class is about, how to get credit for the course, and I will be making an additional video that talks more about the online portion of the course. So let's review the syllabus. When you meet with your facilitator on the first day of class, they will also go through the syllabus and answer any additional questions you may have. The catalog description for the course is that it is a one-unit, student-centered group tutorial offering supplemental instruction in elements of academic writing. It's meant to be taken with your writing intensive course, and you should be concurrently enrolled in a writing intensive in order to take 109X. We focus a lot on the writing process. Students should check their placement for WPJ. Only those that have a score of 70 are required to take 109X. Sometimes we will allow, if we have extra room in these classes, students who received a 3-unit placement and 80 or more on the WPJ to take the class as extra help. And sometimes we will offer it to students with a 6-unit placement for extra help in their 109W or M class. But for most of you, the score of 70 requires that you take 109X with your writing intensive. If you are on a waiting list for a writing intensive, we do give you a certain amount of time to get enrolled in that. Once the first couple of weeks of the semester have passed, and if you're still not enrolled in your writing intensive, or if you drop your writing intensive, then you will need to also drop from 109X, since both the writing intensive and the 109X requirement need to be fulfilled in the same semester. As an overview for what the course is about, it is a credit, no credit course designed to provide students with a space to give and receive feedback to help them improve their writing. So you'll meet once a week with your instructional student assistant, that peer facilitator, and discuss what you're working on, receive feedback. The facilitator may give more information on various writing topics that the students are interested in. And that will be a 50-minute session in person once a week. In addition, you'll spend about 50 minutes online reading or watching on writing topics, reflecting on them, doing some sort of a discussion post or other culminating activity. And I'll talk more about that in the next video. The primary emphasis in this class is on developing rhetorical skills. So thinking about choices that you make in your writing and how to make the best choices to get that writing across clearly. We will also work on self-editing skills. And one thing to consider with these workshops is because they rely on peer-to-peer collaboration, your success in the class is very much intertwined with the success of your group. So to create a successful community of writers, you need to be engaged and functioning within your group. So come prepared, listen to others, work together to establish goals about what quality writing should be, And don't be afraid to give and receive feedback. These kinds of behaviors are what will be the most benefit for you and in terms of improving your writing and getting the most out of the class. If you are not engaged and participating, then there won't be a lot of value to the class. So make a commitment to yourself and your peers in your group so that you can get the most out of the class. I wanted to talk too about the learning outcomes, what we'd like you to get out of the class by the end of the semester. The first one is to be more aware of your own writing processes, including things like pre-writing, drafting, revising, and editing. We will work on these aspects of the writing process both within the classroom as well as in the online information so that you have a chance to think about and reflect on your current processes and learn some new ways of doing these parts of the process so that you might be able to enhance or improve your processes. The second outcome is to develop an increased understanding of the importance of giving and receiving feedback throughout the writing process. This will be done mostly in person in the classroom. Your tutor may opt to have some feedback online, but most of it will be done working with others in the classroom. The third outcome is to develop an increased understanding of the discourse conventions of academic discourse communities. So a discourse community might be a major or field of study, and all of these have different conventions. For example, some may use APA style, others require certain genres in things that are written, and so developing and increasing your understanding of that so you can respond properly to the assignments in your writing intensive is one goal that we have for you. The fourth outcome, develop critical self-reflection, self-editing, and self-assessment skills through writing, is one that is done a lot of times both in the classroom and online. So self-reflection is something that's done in a lot of the online discussion posts. We also work on self-editing and self-assessment in the classroom as well as online in the hopes that you can have a better understanding of your strengths and weaknesses in writing and be able to assess where you need to go from here once the class is over. I want to spend some time talking about how the course is graded and then also give more detail about attendance and participation, which is one of the main requirements for receiving credit in the class. So to receive credit, there are really 4 things that you need to accomplish. One of them is attending and participating in accordance with the attendance policy, and we'll talk more about what the attendance policy is in just a moment. The second one involves bringing in your writing to share with the group on the dates that you were signed up for. So if you don't bring in any writing during the semester, you can't receive credit for the tutorial because most of the class revolves around students sharing their writing with each other in that peer workshop environment. So consider that you will need to participate and share your writing. The third requirement to receive credit in the class is that you write and submit 2 two-page papers. One will be assigned at the midterm and the last one will be assigned at the end of the term. These papers give you an opportunity to do more of that critical self-reflection about your writing, your processes, and assess where you are. The fourth way to guarantee that you receive credit in the course is to uphold the academic honesty policy, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. I want to move on to expand on attendance and participation. So students who attend and participate will receive credit for the tutorial, assuming they do the other 4 things that we've talked about. If you have absences that exceed 2 weeks of class, so over 4 absences, you will not be able to earn credit for the tutorial. So I wanted to talk about what constitutes 1 absence. Obviously, if you're not at the in-person class meeting, that's 1 absence. If you fail to bring in copies of your writing when you're scheduled, that could create an absence. If you're arriving late more than 15 minutes or leaving early, that will create an absence. These are only 50-minute classes, so taking up 15 of those 50 minutes is quite a bit of time. If you have a lot of tardies, so maybe you're within that 15 minutes, but you're coming late or leaving early, those can add up to an absence. If you were ever asked to leave because you're off task or disrupting others from being able to engage in the workshop, that can be an absence. And then the one that I want to emphasize, because I think this is one that students sometimes have trouble with, is the online portion of the class is just as important as the in-person. And so if you are not completing the online modules and finishing with the discussion post or whatever the culminating piece of that module is, or if you're constantly posting them late, those will be considered as an absence. You can, though, make up to 2 of these late, as long as you're making arrangements with your course facilitator. So consider all of these things could create an absence, and you want to keep your absences to 4 or fewer during the semester in order to receive credit for the course. In terms of academic honesty, I have a link here to the CSUS policy and some information on plagiarism. You want to make sure that with the work that you're bringing in, as well as the 2 papers you create for 109X, that you are doing your own work and citing any sources that you use in those pieces. If anyone has a situation where you need accommodations, please let us know as soon as possible so that we can make sure that both the in-person and the online portions of the course will be accessible for you to complete. You may find that you need additional help during the semester beyond what 109X provides, and if that applies to you, you are definitely welcome to drop in at the University Reading and Writing Center in Calaveras 128. I also recommend Purdue University's OWL or Online Writing Lab. They have a lot of information about writing and citation there. The last thing to consider with this syllabus is that your particular group may make some modifications just to ensure that things are running successfully in your tutorial, and the facilitator may ask you to write those down here. One thing that every group generally will add is what day of the week and time that the online portion of the class is due. The online portion runs asynchronously, which means that not everybody has to be online at the same time doing the work, but it just needs to be done throughout the week, and there'll be a date that that's due. So just be aware of that. So at this point, I'd like to ask you to consider, after watching this video and then the next video on Canvas, that I'm going to have you take a short quiz and then ask you to sign the grading contract for 109X. So I wanted to just briefly go over that grading contract and then ask you to move on to the next video that talks about the online course. So the grading contract just asks you to sign, saying that you understand the course policies and how to receive credit. There's a summary of the 4 things to do to receive credit and a reminder about what constitutes an absence, and then ask you to sign here. So I wish you success this semester in 109X. Remember that if you are engaged and participating, you'll get the most out of the class. I look forward to working with you, and please check out the next video to see how to handle the online portion on Canvas. Thank you.